Alright YouTube, so we are back again to ask some more questions about Fallout 76. I did a video like this almost 2 months ago. I made the video, I think, exactly 2 weeks after the E3 press conference. Following E3, we kept getting interviews left and right with Todd Howard and Pete Hines and Jeff Gardner doing videos on Twitter and stuff like that. We're getting all kinds of information. So I intentionally waited a little bit until the information started dying down to do my question video because I didn't want to upload it and then have most of my questions answered in some random interview. With that video, we had 16 questions, and we got most of them answered, I do believe. Like, one of them was, a release window for the beta, which we have now. Back then, we didn't. Now we know it's coming out sometime in October. Another random one was, is there a level cap? Which, according to Todd Howard at QuakeCon, we can just level and level. He didn't want to make a game where there is a level cap. Obviously, about 2 months ago, we knew very little about PvP, and one of the questions I had was, is there griefing? Can we kill anybody that we see? And we know now that, yeah, we pretty much can. But at the same time, there's a good amount of those questions that have not been answered yet, and I have some new questions based on some of the things we learned at QuakeCon. So first up, we'll start with the older questions that have not been answered yet, and this one pertains to the perk cards. We know that we can share perk cards with our squad or whatever, but which perk cards specifically can be shared? We know that there are perk cards that only work if you're playing by yourself. Obviously, those are off the table. And another question I had in that last video is, can perk cards stack? Can you share multiple perks amongst your group? Can all 4 of us share the exact same perk with each other? And how does sharing perk cards work? Do I have to have an extra copy in my inventory? Do I actually physically give you a perk card? We know now because of perk packs, which we will get to, that they're almost like items. You open up a perk pack whenever you get one, and it gives you 4 different perk cards. So they go essentially almost in your inventory like an item. One of the questions I posed in my last video was, how does selling amongst players work? If you look at the description for Charisma, it tells you that it affects your prices when you barter. So can we actually barter with each other? Can you come up to me and say, I'm looking for a combat shotgun, and I can tell you, give me 1,000 caps for it, and you have to either pay that, or you can't buy the item from me, or does every item have its own set price, and then maybe it goes into our, Charisma stats and things like that to decide the prices? And in the same realm, can we only buy and sell items with other players, or are there going to be NPC vendors? We know there's not supposed to be any NPCs at all, but there could be NPC ghouls that you can buy and sell from, a friendly super mutant, and of course there's robots. Arguably the best vendor in New Vegas was the Gunrunners, and it was ran by a robot. One of the biggest questions that needs to be answered is, how does the looting work in this game? Is it first come, first serve? Can everybody loot the same, dresser, for instance? How often does loot reset? If we can loot the exact same thing, are we going to have the exact same items in it? I feel like drops will be randomized from player to player, because otherwise, if we all were in a group together and we killed a legendary creature, we'd all get the exact same legendary weapon or armor. Another question that I had in my last video was, will V.A.T.S be CRUTCH? Because even if, say, I'm really good at free aiming, I play a lot of first-person shooter games, why would I not use something that auto-aims and targets another player? I realize the game isn't just PvP, but it is a part of the game. You're going to be interacting with a lot of players, so you got to factor those things in. V.A.T.S to me seems like it's going to be something that everybody would probably use. So I'm wondering if there's any kind of downsides to using V.A.T.S in this game. The only one I can kind of come up with is you're going to be standing still. Obviously, the game is in real time. V.A.T.S doesn't slow down or pause time. So if you go into V.A.T.S, your character is going to be standing in one place. So that'll allow them to shoot at you more accurately. That's the only real downside I can think of. Kind of a quick and important one. Earlier I mentioned that one of my old questions was, what is the release window for the beta? Now I'm curious, what is the actual date? They keep just saying in October, which makes me think that they have no idea exactly when it's going to be in October, which kind of scares me. So on to some newer questions. At QuakeCon 2018, we learned that there's this thing called stashes in our settlements and all around the map where we can store items in it, and they say that the items stored in stashes are safe, they can't be taken, which to me sounds like we can steal from each other, but I still have to ask the question, can we steal items from each other?
What people will do is they'll go back to their camp and they'll put their junk back in their stash, which is safe. Nobody can take things out of each other's stashes. And we've also seeded the world with stashes as well. So if you know where some of the stashes are, it's always a safe place to store the junk that you've collected.
From the way he describes it, it does sound like we can steal items from each other, take items from each other, probably from settlements and things like that, but how strong is this? Can we only steal junk from each other? Can we steal weapons and armors? This next question I had in my video where we talked about everything you need to know about PvP, whenever you're wanted and there's a bounty on your head and you get killed, the bounty comes out of your own caps. But what happens if I don't have any caps at all? Or what if I don't have enough caps in my inventory to pay the bounty? The bounty's 500 and maybe I only have 100 caps on me. This question I think is pretty damn important because realistically when you're wanted, this is the only problem. There's other things that take place when you're wanted, but really the only punishment you get is losing caps. And what if I just empty out all my caps, buy a bunch of shit or store all my caps in my settlement, and then go on a killing spree? Going back really quickly to the stealing items from each other, is pickpocketing in this game gone? Can we pickpocket other players? It's a feature that's been in like pretty much all the Elder Scrolls games and pretty much all the Fallout games, so is it going to return in this game, and how exactly would that work? If it is actually in this game, is there any chance at all of me sneaking up on another player and actually being able to pickpocket them? So initially my question for perk card packs, we know that the cards you get are randomized, but my question was going to be, are they new cards? Was it going to be randomized with perk cards you don't already have, or can you pull cards you already unlocked? And looking back on what Todd Howard said during that part of the Q&A, it actually looks like you can get perks you already have unlocked.
And every few levels, initially every 2 levels, you get a perk card pack, and that has 4 random cards. Again, you could have picked these.
So right there he says that the cards you get out of perk packs you could have picked. This could be interpreted a few different ways. You could have picked these could mean that they're perks that you already have unlocked, as in you already have picked them, or you could be saying that these are perks you could have chose to unlock. You didn't have to pull them out of the perk packs. I guess really either way I need clarification on what he means right here, and I guess the overall question is, can we pull perk cards we already have unlocked out of perk packs? And a continuation from the perk packs, what the hell is the point in the gold cards you can get? The only thing Todd Howard says is that they're animated.
We do have gold. That one's great. We have gold cards that animate. Of course, you get a joke and a stick of gum.
Nice.
Are the gold cards rare? Are they hard to get? Are you guaranteed 1 per pack? Do they only animate? Can other players see them? Like, what is the point of the gold cards? I feel like other players could see them, otherwise it doesn't really matter that they're animated. And are they even something worth being proud of? Like, what is the actual point of them? Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I'm just curious. Next up is a question that I've said in another video, but I don't remember which one. When it comes to the description of the special stats in this game, are they describing the special stat itself or perk cards under that special stat? The reason why I asked this question is in previous Fallout games, if you put a point into your strength, you got more carry weight. You put a point into your endurance, you had more health. And the descriptions for both strength and endurance say that respectively, but if you look at something like intelligence, it tells you that you get better at hacking with intelligence. The description reads, intelligence is a measure of your overall mental acuity and affects your ability to hack terminals, the condition and durability of items that you craft, and the return you get from scrapping. But the hacker perk card is actually an intelligence perk card, so is the description of intelligence referencing this perk specifically, or if you keep putting points into intelligence, does it just make you better at hacking overall? I guess another way to word the question would be, does the number in a special stat matter more than just the amount of perk cards that we can have active? So like say I level up, I can put 1 point into strength. That'll give me more space for obviously strength perk cards, but does that also give me like 5 carry weight, whatever the normal increase would be if you put a point into strength? And my last question for the video, and it's probably going to be a longer question, which is why I saved it till the end, is blocking other players going to be overpowered? Blocking a player in Fallout 76 is meant to be sort of like an anti-griefing mechanic. If somebody's annoying you, following you around, trying to kill you, trying to interrupt your gameplay, something like that, you can block them, and you will no longer appear on the map for them. The reason why I'm asking if this is going to be overpowered, for starters, is if I block another player, does it work 2 ways? I block you, you can no longer see me on the map, but can I still see you on the map? Because if that is the case, this is very, very overpowered. Because if I'm some asshole griefer and I want to annoy somebody, I can block every single person in the lobby. They can't see me on the map, but I can still see them, and then I can sneak up on them and kill them. Or just block a particular player, sneak up on them and kill them because they won't know I'm there. But let's say blocking another player works 2 ways. You can no longer see me, I can no longer see you. Do I still have all the power? Would unblocking you allow both of us to see each other on the map again? And can I block and unblock a player as much as I want? Can I see where you're at, block you, run to your general area, unblock you, see where you're at now, block you again, run to that area, and continue doing this until I find you? Look, I think blocking another player is an okay anti-griefing mechanic, but it's also something that can very much be abused. I guess another valid question would be, can we even unblock players at all? Because you block a player for that session, is what Jeff Gardner said, so is it even possible to unblock a player? I think it's a question we definitely need an answer to, because let's say I'm going into the menu to block some player that's annoying me, and I somehow accidentally block one of my friends that I'm playing with. Like, can I not unblock them anymore? Are they blocked for the entire session? I can't see them on the map anymore for the entire session? Because that seems like it'd be very, very frustrating, but at the same time, if you can block and unblock at will, it seems like something you could abuse. So there you have it, YouTube. 16 more questions that we still need answers to. About half or so were kind of older questions from my last video that we still don't have answers for. And then the other ones were newer ones based on stuff we learned at QuakeCon 2018. If you happen to have an answer to any of these questions or a theory to any of these questions, be sure and leave that in the comments below and pose any questions that you have in the comments below. Anything that you're curious about with Fallout 76, we can get to speculating in the comments. And as always, if you guys went on to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid, add my Discord, links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while, quit acting